Alright, it's from Ubisoft. Alright, another speedrunning video. And Pokemon video. You know, two things I really love combined in one. So let's see what we discovered today. After 23 years, speedrunners just broke Pokemon Ruby by... We shall find out. Alright, here we are. 3, 2, 1, go.
The Pokémon games are notoriously broken. In current generations, there are overwhelming numbers of graphical and rendering bugs, as I'm sure you've seen the windmills with a frame rate lower than the one in Kakariko Village on the N64. And if we go back to the first 3 generations, we see some very broken glitches. I'm sure everyone
Missing No,
remembers
yep.
learning how to duplicate items from another kid on the playground by encountering Missing No, or that you could clone Pokémon by turning the game off while saving at the storage system. However, the speedruns use an entirely different set of broken glitches. For instance, using a glitch where you trigger a wild Pokemon battle the same time you lock eyes with a trainer, then dying to that Pokemon, the game gets into a very weird state so that when you go back into Viridian Forest, you get warped to Professor Oak, who plays...
Yeah, it's a different kind of wrong warp. For Pokemon speedruns, they utilize all sorts of glitches and skips and stuff to be able to get right to the Elite Four and stuff. Or to credit warp right to the credits. So let's see how they do it in Ruby. Pretty curious.
The credits after speaking to him, beating the game in just over 10 minutes. Even crazier, by using save corruption, where you corrupt and edit your save file, you can beat the game in just over 1 minute, with a similar save corruption being used in Generation 2 to beat the game in under 8 minutes. It's obvious
save
that
corruption
these
too,
games
that's
were
also
held
another
together by
thing.
duct tape, and you'd think that by Generation 3, Game Freak would have gotten their act together. But that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, it's very easy to break a Pokemon game sometimes for some reason. Even after Gen 1 and 2, especially the original Red and Green, they really were just held together by gum, like a paperclip and a dream, right? Those games were very easy to break. Yeah, that's also true of Lego, yeah. This can be scary. Oh, just a little bit sometimes, right? Let's see how they break the Gen 3 games.
From walking on water to freezing the game with the Acro Bike and a host of battle glitches, Gen 3 was also very broken. However, the glitches had very few applications in the speedrun. That is, until now. Recently, a previously known glitch involving the mail system that was determined to be useless for speedrunning was reinvestigated, and the results were the most broken glitch in Ruby and Sapphire history. In today's video, we're going to see how this was discovered, look at the different routes created with it, see how stealing trainer Pokemon became a part of the speedrun, and ultimately see how low these new discoveries brought the record. Remember?
Yeah, I remember watching the video about that, like sometime last year, about the mail system in Ruby and Sapphire. That's a wealth of glitches in there.
Guards in Gen 1 that wanted a drink, maybe they wouldn't have been so thirsty if they had this video's sponsor, G Fuel. G Fuel is an energy drink company with a ton of different flavors and beverages, and they're all packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and zero sugar, giving you the extra energy you need without the crash. Currently, there's a Black Friday buy one get one free offer happening now.
I never tried
with
G
4
Fuel
new
before,
flavors.
actually.
And I've got the sour cranberry grapefruit
I used to do
flavor
Advanced
here,
DG,
and
but
the drinks are
after
easy
certain
to
events,
assemble.
I'm not going to
Just
be
take a
going
scoop
with them
from the
anymore.
tub, stir it into water, and you're ready to go. Or bundle a shaker cup with your order and skip
G
the
Fuel is
stirring
pretty
step
interesting,
if you prefer your drinks like a secret agent. You'll want to act fast, as the Black Friday BOGO offer is only up for a limited time, with every order getting a free enamel pin. And orders over $65 receive free shipping, so you can load up for the holidays during this massive sale. Get your energy drinks from G Fuel by using my code Abasoft for 20% off, and don't forget to take part in the Black Friday buy one get one free sale while it lasts. And with that, let's get back to the video. The first any percent speedruns actually did...
I know, he didn't even say catch 'em all. What a bad ad. 0 out of 10. About 80% speedrun in Ruby. Here we go.
Use mail glitches. The first let you walk over water so you could catch a level 35 Tentacool early. Then later, another mail glitch was used to duplicate rare candies to level it up to 67. But while this route did use glitches, it took so much time duplicating the rare candies, then feeding them to a Pokemon, that it was only about 8 minutes faster than doing the speedrun without them. We'll get into how the mail glitch works later. For now, all you need to know is that lots of weird things can happen if you steal mail from a Pokemon in battle, then send it to the PC. However, there was one player that knew the mail glitch had the potential to be much more broken than it appeared to be, and Metrich was determined to break the game with it just like it had been
Oh yeah, Metrich. Yeah. And if you don't know what ACE is, um, it's arbitrary code execution. I wonder if he's about to explain it. Let's see.
Done in Fire Red and Leaf Green. While looking at the game's code, he realized something. The mail item has two callback functions after it in memory. He thought that by exploiting this code, he could make headway on creating a credits warp for the speedrun. However, while looking at the mail item's code, he noticed something else. When a mail is in the PC, it has a lot of useless data after it. In this case, he wanted to take a glitched mail and fill it with specific data so that when it overflows into the useless data, some very complicated black magic happens that causes the data to be executed as a credits warp. This is easier said than done, however, and the first method he came up with was by exploiting the contest event. The steps to achieve this version of the credits warp.
Yeah, and so oh yeah, arbitrary code execution. Like the simplest way I understand it is when people are able to execute code within the game using like very specific glitches and cheats. I first learned about it back in Ocarina of Time speedruns when they would use ACE to also do a credits warp. Well, not a credits warp per se, but it'll take him through Ganon's castle, the final part of the boss battle there, to beat the game within a few minutes. Yeah, basically they mess with the game in a way where it creates a bit of data that you can manipulate to do exactly what you want the game to do. Yeah, Ace has been appearing in a lot of speedruns in the past few years. Coach Kadika, pay attention. But it's not a Mudkip. It's the evolved form of Mudkip. What is the middle form of Mudkip called? Because he evolves into Swampert. Swampert is the final form. Is he? I don't know my Pokemons. Let's see here. What does Mudkip evolve into? Marshtomp. Okay, yes. Okay, okay. I was right. He does evolve into Marshtomp. Yeah, Swampert is the final form. Yeah, this year is a Marshtomp. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Let's continue and see what happens.
Are exceptionally technical, even for my channel, so we don't need to know everything, but it has two key elements, a specific trainer ID and winning a contest. The value of the trainer ID determines some events in the game, such as which old man will be in Mauville City, and if you get the trader or storyteller old man, this glitch will fail, as the data won't be configured properly for the exploit we're going to do. As for the contest, we won't get into the details because they are very complicated, but the Spark Notes summary is that winning a contest adds some extra data to your Pokemon so that when the mail glitch is activated, parts of the data attached to the mail overflow into the useless data after it on the PC and
Yeah, that's because winning a contest get your Pokemon some ribbons, I imagine. I imagine that's what's causing the extra data. If your Pokemon wins a contest, he gets ribbons, which adds to his, Pokemon data. Everything your Pokemon has is data. All the moves it learned, its friendship points, what level it's at, how much XP it needs, blah 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 blah. So adding to that data by adding ribbons from the contest. Wow, that's a great way to mess up the mail glitch there. I like that.
trigger a credits warp. This route wasn't particularly fast, and after it came two different Spinda routes. The first still used contests and was relatively short-lived, but the second was considerably faster, clocking in just over an hour, and instead of using the contest, it set up the data using a specifically patterned Spinda and the trend mechanic. The trend mechanic takes two words the user inputs to an NPC in Dewford Town, then checks their trendiness value, and if they have a value higher than the current trend, that word will be adopted and start being used by NPCs. But there's one issue. The value they're assigned is completely random, and this route requires you to play for an hour just to roll the dice on getting the correct value. This brings us to Spinda, which needs a specific pattern so we know it has the correct stats.
And Spinda is another bag of another can of worms there because Spinda has like over like 1.2 billion spot patterns I once read. It's probably more or less than that, but I remember once I read that Spinda has like over a billion patterns possibly. Oh, Coach Kadika. That's one way to look at speedrunning, but truthfully, speedrunning is knowing the game inside and out and loving it more than anyone ever could. Speedrunners know their games inside out, which I think is really fascinating. Yeah, like I knew about that. The world record in Ruby was just 27 minutes 44 seconds. Which is fascinating. And I guess this video we're gonna find out how they did it. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
However, Spinda's pattern is random, But by doing a save and quit, then taking some specific actions, you can guarantee you'll get the frame that has the perfect spinda for the glitch.
Frame
After
perfect
this,
spindas.
a lot of black magic takes place.
Frame perfect
By setting
spindas,
up the
bro.
male glitch and having a specific trainer ID combined with the correct trend and spinda, when you look at the spinda in the Pokédex, the game will crash. This is actually part of the route, as you've now put a glitched Pokémon into your inventory that has a way to execute a credits warp built into its code.
Oh.
All you need to do is move it between boxes. But first, it needs the credits warp code to execute. So, by writing certain characters to box names, when we switch the glitched Pokémon around, the game then reads the box names as instructions to warp to the credits.
Yes! I think we got it. Go!
Yay!
Go,
Amazing.
go.
Yeah, that's sort of like how Ace works too, in a way. You know, setting up so that the game reads things in a specific way, thinks its code, and, you know, executes it. Blue magma. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, people who speedrun are genuinely in the class all on their own. I absolutely admire the heck out of speedrunners.
Spinda, hurry up. Yes! Oh.
Wow, it took under an hour.
59.49.
This route was good, but it wasn't super fast since it still required getting 3 badges. So, Metrich decided to do something even crazier. He was going to corrupt the game so you could catch another trainer's Pokémon, then use that Pokémon to do the credits warp with.
Oh wow.
Normally, this isn't possible, as the trainer will swat away the Pokéball when you throw it, and even if you did catch a trainer's Pokémon, there's another problem. Since trainer Pokémon have a different trainer ID than the players, they are almost always broken, glitched messes. However, under rare cases where the trainer ID is similar enough to the players, the Pokémon you stole would only have glitched species data. And it just so happens that this data was messed up in just the right way that it could be used with the male glitch and perform a credits warp. The trainer stealing route has a lot of advantages over the Spinda route. While it still required having a specific trainer ID and manipulating the starter Pokémon, which we'll talk about in a second, the data from the stolen Pokémon combined with some black magic made it so that players could skip getting the 3rd badge. Unfortunately, no footage exists of the 2-badge route, as it was relatively short-lived, because through further research, Metrich found a way to skip getting the 2nd badge, requiring only a single gym battle. This route
Wow, that's a lot of time saves there. That's pretty good.
was very fast, but it had 2 major problems. First, there was a frame-perfect trick at the very end to ensure you got the specific glitched Pokémon. And second, you had to manipulate that Pokémon while it was under the other trainer's control so that it had a specific PP value for its moves, as the PP value plays a key role in the data being correct. Additionally, you're required to wait almost 2 minutes to start the encounter with the trainer you're stealing from to guarantee you get the correct glitched Pokémon. And on that point, making sure the Machop has the correct PP to
and you know they're not being crude. If you don't know what PP is, in this instance, in the context of Pokemon, it stands for power points. I think it determines how many times a Pokemon can use a certain move before it can't do it anymore.
Takes a lot of time, with about 6 entire minutes being spent during this setup. What's crazy about this route is that if you look at where the trainer Pokemon is stolen, you can see the game starts to break down almost immediately. But luckily, it holds together just long enough that the credits warp can be completed, with Blue Magma setting the first sub-hour world record with the route.
Yes, dude, hell yeah.
Yeah, I thought man Blue Magma.
Zubat is not even part of the route. Yes, dude. Oh, that's nice.
And he brought it down to 44
to hit it first
minutes.
try, finally.
To 27
this
minutes
was
even.
the coolest and fastest route to date, and speedrunner Doonwacky was doing attempts where he didn't manipulate his starting Trico, and when he got to the end of the run, this happened. Metrich looked into what was causing the crash and found that the data from Doonwacky's unmanipulated Trico was the culprit. And when investigating this, he realized something. There was another way to do the credits warp. So he went back to the drawing board, and what he came up with was...
Oh, did you see that? Oh no. when he put the Pokemon in, it just... That's like something out of a creepypasta, isn't it? Trico did on purpose to help him discover a faster way to beat the game. But honestly, good on him. Good Trico. Good. Look at that. It's like a like if I had seen this like 5 years ago, I would have thought someone's cheap creepypasta, right? Like, ooh, the game got all glitchy, did it? But now you can make real life creepypastas doing this. That's funny.
Metrich looked into what was causing the crash and found that the data from Dune
Yeah, he didn't manipulate his Trico. That's why it happened. Yeah, all that technical stuff. I don't understand a word of it, but it's fascinating.
Mackey's unmanipulated Trico was the culprit. And when investigating this, he realized something. There was another way to do the credits warp. So he went back to the drawing board, and what he came up with was even faster than the forbidden jutsu we just looked at. This is the current fastest route, so we'll be going through it piece by piece, and the very first things runners have to do is manipulate their trainer ID. The trainer ID is set on the frame you confirm the final dialog box of the intro, so by using a timer that starts when the game boots up, you can use audio cues it plays to help confirm the input on the frame needed for the specific trainer ID.
Not just frame perfect, but audio perfect too. Gosh.
Which is 09281 in this case. In addition to this, you also need to name yourself the maximum number of characters, as this helps align the data for the credits warp. Then you can start playing the game. The first few minutes are just text mashing, but not long after this, the first trick is a precise manipulation to get a Trico with specific stats. The reason for this is so the Trico can two-hit the upcoming encounter. And to do this, you need to confirm the Trico on a specific frame. So runners use a save and quit to reset their RNG just before the fight with the Poochyena, then use the timer one more time to help align their input on the frame needed. If everything is performed correctly, you'll get a Trico with the adamant nature and 19 HP, with it dispatching the Poochyena in 2 pounds. However, the manipulations aren't done yet. They're just getting started. After talking to Professor Burt,
Cat! Look at that, here's a cat. Oh, 2 cats. And the creepy bunny thing right there. Sorry, I just saw the cat.
you're sent on your way to find the rival and have a battle, but there's a lot of tall grass you're forced to walk through. Luckily, there's another manipulation, as Mockwing created a step route that can get you to the rival without triggering a wild Pokemon battle.
There's a step route to avoid encounters.
Generation 3 has a fatal flaw. Once the battery in the game pack is dead, the RNG seed will always be the same, so by resetting, you'll always know what your starting RNG is. Since the last reset took place about a minute ago, and it's mostly text mashing outside of the battle, you generally know when you'll be getting outside of the lab. And since the NPC movement is tied to the RNG seed, by looking at where the NPCs are facing, you can know what RNG seed you're on. Once you know that, you can then take steps on a specific path that will have you get 0 encounters on that particular RNG seed. However, the rival encounter itself isn't manipulated, because it's harder to be precise when navigating menus, as you can't buffer your actions like you can in the overworld, so you queue up Pound and hope it kills in as few hits as possible. After this, you're off to the first gym, pounding your way through trainers as you go. And remember how I just said that manipulating battles is hard? Well, for Roxanne, we're going to do just that.
Oh my
Battles
gosh,
are hard
how?
to manipulate for 2 reasons. First, you need to clear text and confirm moves frame perfectly. And second, RNG moves twice as fast while in battle, which means you'll always be on an odd or even numbered frame depending on when you start the fight. And even with a save and quit, it's still tricky to time this perfectly. For the Roxanne fight, odd frame.
Oh my gosh, look at that. These people are insane. If you're on even frames, you want to hit frame 2002, 2004, or 2006. 2002 is the only frame, even or odd, that'll give you a 2-hit plus crit, rather than a free hit. Oh, but that's bad because RNG will advance by less than 2 frames, so you need to be slightly late on your... Oh my god, that's fascinating. These people are crazy.
Frames are what you want to be on, since odd frames have all of the best outcomes. And luckily, if we start on an even frame, there is a way to switch to odd, as multi-hit moves take time to calculate how many times they will hit, and this calculation time can change your frame from odd to even or even to odd. So, if the fight starts on an even frame, you can easily get to an odd one. There are lots of different outcomes depending on if your frames are odd or even, and these outcomes break down further based on if your inputs are early, on time, or late. So, this fight is very complex and aggravating to do correct, even for experienced runners using Flow Timer. But, once you're through it, there's only one manipulation left. Abra. Like everything else, a save and quit followed by specific actions guarantees that Abra will be caught. But why is it important?
Hmm.
Abra can learn Thief, which is the key to making this entire glitch work, because next we're going into a double battle. But before that, we're going to equip and remove 9 mails to Abra, then equip a 10th to Trico. We've talked a lot about the mail glitch, and it's finally time to see how it works. When a mail is removed, it's sent to the PC, but the PC only has 10 slots to hold mail. Okay, so no problem, right?
Okay.
Since we only sent 9 mails to the PC.
So far makes
Well,
sense.
no problem yet, because what we do next is going to make a major problem. In the doubles battle, we'll have Abra target Trico with Thief to steal a mail from it, which is an issue, because when a Pokemon without mail steals one in battle, it then acquires the mail item, but the game never sees it as having been given a mail. So, if you take this mail from Abra, you get a glitched mail in the 10th slot of the box. Because the glitched mail is in the final spot, the extra data we specifically modified has nowhere to go except beyond the bounds of the mail list, and it starts overwriting other things in memory. And to activate this glitched mail with a built-in credits warp, all you need to do is go to the mail and read it. However, there's one more step before that. The payload we wrote isn't quite enough on its own to warp to the credits, so by renaming some boxes that the game is going to read as more data when we activate the glitched mail, the game is fully primed for us to beat it with only a single badge, with Blue Magma achieving the first sub 30-minute time on August 14th.
Yes! Nice.
Amazing,
Let's
wow.
go. It's not a sub 29, but it's sub 30.
It's a sub 30?
Yeah. It's almost 29.
Since then, Chippy Toothy has lowered the record to a sub 28, and I must say that while the trainer stealing method wasn't the fastest, it's still my favorite way that a Pokemon game has been broken. Thanks to Blue Magma and Metrich for help with this video,
That's
and I
amazing.
hope to see you in the next exciting episode of Abysssoft Z.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's fascinating the way they broke the game like that, manipulating the game with the mail slot. I think it probably happened that way because they never expected in a million years that you would give your Pokemon a letter and then in a double battle use Thief on your Pokemon to get that letter. Because who would do that, right? Nobody would do that. It's impressive that speedrunners found a way to do Team Rocket's job. Oh my gosh, that's funny. The best part is that you actually use the move Thief to set up stealing other trainers' Pokemon. Or you could say the players who run this strat are the real ace trainers. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I love that. I love that so much. People love to joke that games are held together by duct tape, but I don't think we're giving duct tape enough credit. You know what? That's true. That's true. Yeah. But Chippy Toopy now in second place. That is absolutely amazing. But that was a great video. Using mail in such a way. I have to wonder, like, if the game devs ever see these videos and see that someone broke their game, stealing mail from your own Pokemon in a double battle. That's not something you're gonna think the test of, is it? Yeah. You're not gonna test, oh, what happens if we use Thief on mail when you already have, 9 letters in the mailbox? But I think that's the beauty of speedrunning and glitch hunting. It's just like the video we watched earlier. The best way to know how something works is to break it and see all the pieces and see how they all fit together. And that's what speedrunning is, really. It's a love letter to the game. That, you loved it enough to see how it fully works. And then by finishing as fast as possible, it shows how deeply you understand the game. Oh god, yes, especially task speedruns. Yeah. And if you don't know what that is, a task is a tool-assisted speedrun. It's not, played by a human, I don't think. It's like a program that executes every move in in the most efficient way possible to show, theoretically, how quickly a game could be beaten. Typically it involves, sometimes it'll involve a lot of RNG methods and stuff that can't be easily manipulated by a human. So a task is more like the best case scenario that, if we have control over this is how fast we could do it. Yeah, y'all really need to watch speedruns sometimes. They're pretty good. And here's the Abysssoft video as well, so y'all can give it a look and a listen, a watch, a like, a support. Yeah, I really like Abysssoft. He does great videos breaking down. I retired too early. Oh my gosh, I probably did. Yeah, gosh, I should have gone to speedrunning years ago, shouldn't have I? If I wasn't at college instead. Yeah, I was starting to nerd on you guys, wasn't I? Oh yeah. But yes, tasks are very fun to watch, especially of those old games. I remember that there was a task of Twilight Princess released last year. That was absolutely fascinating. I can't remember how fully they did it, but yeah, there was like a whole task breakdown of either Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword. I can't remember which one. But yeah, I remember it was a huge event. A lot in the 3D Zelda speedrunning community were really into it. Yeah. Yeah, people who don't understand speedrunning, they can't. I hope they start to understand now that, it's not about, oh, I hate this game, so I'm gonna play it as fast as possible. No, it's much deeper than that. It's like, I love this game so much that I want to finish it in the quickest way possible, and to do that, I will study this game inside out. Oh my goodness gravy, that's really good. I like that.